attendance is poor. I can see plenty of deputy directors here, but I'm not seeing their assistants. I'm not seeing people junior to them. Smart, is there anybody from your unit that is here? No, sir. But you're here. So why? Yaro, how many of your deputy directors are here? Only one. Good. Edith, how many of your okay, okay, we have three. Impressive. But then, um, madam, how many of your subordinates are here? Oh, you don't have staff. Okay. Customer service. How many of your people are here? No. I see here. How many of your people are here? Two. Is that the best that you can do? How can you just come first? Morning. So I don't know how to again go back to start repeating the same gospel I preached last time. Um, this lady took out time, put together what she's going to be sharing with us, and then the people from your office to build from your office to do capacity development. Charles, I know your people are not here, so there's no point asking you. You have to. Okay, so I think that's my advice. I don't know what else to say. It's very nice. We have assessed ourselves here, and we're also showing how well we're doing. There's no point. If you do well, continue doing well. If you are doing badly, continue doing badly. There's always a day of judgment.
Thank you very much, sir, for that opening remarks. We take it that our DG has admonished us today as the opening remarks. Thank you so much. We'll do better next week. Without wasting time, we'd like to invite Dr. Binta for her citation. Ma, please, can you come up to the... Please, can we put a round of applause for her?
Dr. Musa holds a Doctor of Philosophy in Zoology, specifically parasitology degree from the Bayero University, Kano. Proficient in English, Hausa, and Arabic.
Sorry, stop that crap. I've said this before. When you take somebody's citation, it's always considered as secret. How many of you, is it you that are taking the citation? Or is it you?
Apologies for that, sir.
Binta Balarbe Musa holds a Doctor of Philosophy in Zoology, specifically parasitology degree from the Bayero University, Kano. Proficient in English, Hausa, and Arabic, Dr. Binta Balarbe Musa is a member of several professional bodies, including the Royal Society of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, the Organization for Women in Sciences in the Developing World, OWSD, and the Biotechnology Society of Nigeria, BSN. She is currently a senior lecturer in the Department of Zoology at the University of Abuja. Dr. Binta Balarbe Balarbe Musa has written several peer-reviewed journal articles and has served as an internal examiner to several students at the University of Abuja. She has attended several conferences within and outside the country, and she also holds honors and awards for her outstanding academic work. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome to this edition of the RMRDC Lecture Series, Dr. Binta Balarbe Musa.
You're welcome. It's no easy feat to be a doctor in biological sciences. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, DG. Good morning, directors. I stand on the existing protocol. Can I use that stage? Please. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, as my citation was going on, you heard I am my field of specialization is zoology, but I'm here going to talk about Nigeria's strategic position in global agricultural raw material value chain. So I'm more or less proposing to this topic, but I will do my best. So ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues and proud partners in progress, thank you for your presence at this pivotal gathering. The title before us is not merely a topic for discussion. It is a declaration of intent and a roadmap for our national destiny. Beyond the crude barrel, Nigeria's strategic position in global agricultural raw materials value chains. For over half a century, the rhythm of our national economy has been set by the pump jack. Its steady, seductive flow financing our ambitions, but also quietly confining them. It defined our place in the world as a supplier of raw, unrefined potential. Today we gather not to lament that dependence, but to consciously, deliberately choose a new path. We are here to architecture our strategic pivot from a nation that extracts to a nation that transforms, from an economy that sells commodities to one that crafts premium products and commands global value chain. This is a strategic framework for economic diversification, written not in abstract theory, but in the concrete language of soil, seed, and silicon. It is about moving from the farm gate and the mine shaft to the high-tech processing facility and the global market shelf. So once again, my name is Binta Balarabe Musa, and it is my profound privilege to outline for you a future where our greatest wealth is not pumped from the ground, but cultivated from it and multiplied by the ingenuity of our people. So let's look at the economic imperative. To understand the urgency of our task, we must first confront the architecture of our current reality with unflinching clarity. Our economic edifice is built upon a single monolithic pillar, which is crude oil. It is the lifeblood of our foreign exchange, supplying our over 80% of its inflow. It is the cornerstone of our national treasury, constituting more than 65% of our government revenue. The figure of 1.8 million barrels per day represents not just production, but the very pulse of our budgetary planning. Yet, this pillar is not made of granite. It is made of quicksand. Its foundation is global price volatility, a force beyond our control that turns national budgets into exercises in uncertainty and forces us to govern from one fiscal crisis to the next. This over-reliance has systematically crowded out diversification, stunting the growth of other sectors. The most devastating symptom of this mono economy is the specter of mass unemployment, particularly among our youth, a generation brimming with the latent and energy, yet facing a horizon of limited opportunity. Our current model is not just vulnerable, it is a direct threat to our social stability and long-term security. So what are the untapped opportunities? However embedded within this vulnerability is a reservoir of opportunity. So vast it can redefine our continent's economic geography. Let us survey our true God-given endowment. First, look at our tangible wealth. We are custodians of 84 million hectares of arable land, a continental breadbasket where only a fraction of its potential is realized. Beneath our feet lie over 40 commercially viable mineral resources waiting for our intelligent exploitation. In our fields, we are already global leaders. A top producer of cocoa, the world's delight, of sesame, a sought-after oil seed, of cassava, a versatile staple with infinite industrial potential. Now observe the market signals. They are flashing all green. In the first half of 2025 alone, against all odds, our non-oil exports surged by 20%, a silent testament to latent capacity. Globally, consumers and manufacturers are demanding more than just raw materials. They demand sustainable, traceable, and ethically sourced inputs. And on our doorstep, the African Continental Free Trade Area has dismantled barriers. Presenting us with a unified market of 1.3 billion people, the largest in the world by member states. The world is not just ready for what we have in Nigeria, it is hungry for what we could become. The question before us is not one of possibility, but one of speed and strategic execution. Now let's look at the leaky bucket. As I go on, I'll explain what I mean by that. If our potential is so immense in this country, why does it remain tragically untapped? The answer lies in the catastrophic inefficiency of our supply chain, which I term the leaky bucket. Now imagine a farmer fills his bucket with golden grains, but as he carries it to the market, the bucket is riddled with holes. This is the reality in our country. Value erosion. We lose 40 to 50% of what we grow after harvest. You all agree with me here? Maybe even more than that. A staggering, unconscionable 9 billion worth of food and income vanishing annually due to poor storage, handling, and transport. Let's look at our logistics. Our logistics are strangulated. Moving goods within Nigeria consumes 50 to 20% of our GDP, and you all agree with me, compared to less than 10% in developed economies. Our infrastructure is a tax on productivity. Now let's look at also manufacturing stagnation. The ultimate result is that our manufacturing sector's value add remains frozen at a pitiful 10% of our GDP. We are trapped in a colonial era model. We export raw, unprocessed commodities at basement prices, and then turn around to import the finished value-added products made from them at premium prices. We export jobs, import unemployment, and watch the wealth of our nation drain away through the holes of our market. Now let us look at our current state and where we want to be in the future. Okay? Therefore, now our mission is not incremental improvement, it is systemic transformation. Let's visualize the hurdle we must cross. On one side, our current state is a landscape of fragmented, isolated, smallholder farmers bearing immense risk. Their harvest undergoes minimal processing, perhaps just sun drying. It suffers catastrophic losses. They receive a paltry of 20 to 30% of the final product's value, while intermediaries and foreign processors capture the rest. It is an economy of scarcity and diminished returns. Now, where do we want to be? On the other side, we would want a network of integrated value chains. Here, raw cashew, for example, nuts is transformed into roasted, salted snacks, and cashew apple juice. Raw cocoa beans become cocoa butter, liquor, and premier chocolate. Sesame is cold pressed into high-value culinary oil. This is powered by domestic processing and sophisticated beneficiation. The outcome is a brand Nigeria synonymous with quality, reliability, and sustainability. A brand that commands premium prices in the markets of the world. This is the transformation from poverty to prosperity. Now let us look at the agro-industrial corridor. To bridge this hurdle, or to bridge this gap, we propose our first and most foundational pillar, the agro-industrial corridor 2.0, not 1.0 that we are on now, or we have been since our colonial masters left Nigeria. This is not about scattered projects. It is a deliberate, geographically focused industrial policy. We will identify zones of comparative advantage and turn them into engines of integrated production. At the heart of each corridor will be a primary processing and aggregation hubs, modern climate-controlled facilities located where the produce is grown. Of course, you know all these things are capital intensive, but our country can be, we have the what? If well managed, we can do it. Here, cleaning, drying, grading, and initial processing will happen. These hubs will be digitally integrated through a warehouse receipt system. Although this may look too ambitious, but I believe we can achieve it. Now, allowing a bag of beans, for example, to become a bankable, tradable asset. All will be connected by optimized, integrated logistics networks. We start with pilots to prove the model. Of course, anything you are going into, you first run a pilot study to see how far it will go, and then you can correct all the mistakes or anything you need to adjust to make it a perfect system. So for example, a cocoa belt spanning from Ondo, Ogun, and Ekiti, and a sesame and mineral belt across Nasarawa, Benue, and Plateau states. These corridors will be our new economic zones, where agriculture meets industry, and where rural landscapes become centers of thriving economic activity. So let's look at how PPAHs transform value chains. Let's crystallize the transformative power of this hubs. Today, for example, a sesame farmer faces a cruel equation. 40 to 50% of his or her harvest may be lost to spoilage. He or she receives only 20 to 30% of the final price after a chain of middlemen. It takes 7 to 14 anxious days, to get his or her products or produce to a buyer. Quality is inconsistent and there is no story behind his or her products. Now insert PPAH into his or her world. By that, post-harvest losses will plumb to 10 to 20%. Remember, from 40 to 50%. Through immediate professional handling. His or her income share becomes double because the hub aggregates his or her products, gives it grades it, and connects him or her directly to bulk buyers. The time to market collapses to 1 to 3 days or 3 to 5 days, as I've written on the slide. Every bag is of certified. Consistent quality and cushion is fully traceable. Metrics are all transparent. This is more than efficiency. It is dignity, profitability, and a direct connection to the global market. And believe me, I've seen this in the United Kingdom in reality. I've been to the United Kingdom. I lived there for 4 years. They are so organized in their systems, not only one system, in all their systems, that even a single apple you eat from a farmer, there's a tag on it. You can trace the farmer, you can trace where that apple, the seed, first of all, was sorted from. You would know the quality of the soil, the location of the farm, everything, the processing, how the apple came to you, eating it. You would see it is traceable. Do we have that in Nigeria? Can we achieve that? Is it achievable? Yes. Thank you. Now let's look at the digital nervous system. Now, efficiency and volume alone do not win in the 21st century. Our second pillar, the Nigerian Agro-Mineral Traceability and Assurance Platform, NATAP. Think of NATAP as a digital passport or a birth certificate for every single batch of produce. Using blockchain for immutable records and IoT sensors in storage facilities, it creates an unbroken digital thread from the farmer's field to the foreign factory. It records not just movement, but vital data. Soil health, metrics, water usage, harvest dates, storage conditions, carbon footprint. The benefits are transformative. This traceability allows us to brand Nigeria, to command premium prices in markets where consumers pay more for ethical sourcing. It builds on unshakable trust, unbreakable trust with global buyers. And for us as policy makers, for example, it provides a real-time, data-driven dashboard of our entire agricultural ecosystem, allowing for predictive interventions and intelligent planning. NATAP is the transparent backbone of a modern, credible agricultural economy. Now let's look at the sustainable beneficiation policy. Our pursuit of value addition must be guided by a cardinal principle: growth at the expense of our environment or our people is not growth. It is deferred ruin. Thus, pillar 3, yes, that is what I want to discuss, a sustainable beneficiation policy. Our approach is to incentivize value addition, but with intelligent guardrails. We will offer tax incentives and preferential access that are explicitly tied to verifiable environmental, social, and governance compliance. We will foster technology transfer, partnership to ensure we are building with the best tools. We will mandate community benefit sharing agreements, ensuring that the mining and large-scale farming uplift their host communities. We look to global models. We emulate Kenya, for example, which built a premium horticulture export sector through ruthless adherence to international standards. And we heed the cautionary tale of Indonesian nickel. Their rapid ascent as a processing hub came with devastating environmental degradation and social conflict. Nigeria's lesson is very clear here. We must embed sustainability and equity into the DNA of our value chains from the very start. Our policies must be the vehicle of this principled approach. So let's look at the digital advantage we have. Last time I was here, I think a professor from Veritas University was invited, and he spoke about in drafting the Sustainable Beneficiation Act to provide an emergency presidential task force to dismantle the port, road, and rail barriers that strangle trade. 5, obscure the nation, that is, establish a global value chain skills development fund to train millions of Nigerians in modern agro-processing, logistics, and digital management. So what are the expected outcomes when we follow all these steps? Nigeria, where we experience like 3 to 4, is it 3 to 4 years or 3 to 5 years? 4 years, okay, political cycle, we can target transformative outcomes. New direct and indirect jobs in rural and urban areas, lift manufacturing's share of GDP from 10% to 15% and even beyond. Strategically, we become Africa's premier agro-processing hub. We build a global brand stamp and label it as so we can now, revolutionize that to responsibly sourced from Nigeria, and we establish Nigeria as the default leader and reaping the greatest rewards. Furthermore, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, momentum. In the next 0 to 6 months, for example, we must convene stakeholders to a code first corridor, form a I'm thinking about what is happening in this country, the insecurity. I don't want to generalize it, but not to we have every capacity.
Try using my
All the
try use as much as I see it go. And I'm trying to get audio from here directly.
unfortunately, that is the case. And also hoping and praying that this country will take this security very seriously. Everybody else members to this security, and that is my advice. We should have wanted to know what it is. But suddenly we realize it's not happening.
Why
So
should
you can imagine losing a professor in this country. It's like losing a whole library. So it does not only affect what we presented today, it is
the second strategic pillar, this interface with students on a daily basis. I don't know what you're doing. You know, when we talk about raw material value addition, it's everybody's business. And if we knew what we know now when we were younger, I'm sure it would be better off, whether at home or in our schools. We just believe that let's export to get money. But we are now seeing that we are ripping ourselves up. So, what efforts are you really doing with your students so this can be imbibed in them? That it's a no-no to export. You know, so even when they're at home, they talk to their parents, they are with their peers, they will understand the strategy, the road we want to pass through. You spoke about where we were and where we should be. So I don't know, maybe during your term paper presentation, or what effort can you really do to ensure that this issue of value addition to raw materials, both the agro and the mineral, is embedded in our children right at the school there, even at that higher institution, so that they can come out with that mindset and help to champion or to follow us in this champion of raw materials development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's a very important point. Our universities are actually doing their best. Academics are also doing their best. First of all, let me start from the top. Nigerian University Commission recently, in the last 1.5 years, have revised our curriculum from BMAS to CCMAS for our students to compete with to for our own students to catch up with their counterparts abroad. Coming down to the university, we do have quite a handful of programs to help our science. I can only say, okay, I will probably propose to them to put more effort to bring our students, yes, to put our students on board also. But most of our projects, if you look at our final year projects, uh, the students don't know, they know. But the problem is sometimes the output of the projects is not, I don't know how to put it. It is not put into the market. It is not used for policy making. Let me put it that way. A policy making, yeah, but there are quite a number of such things going on in the university. Maybe we are sort of isolated, and we also need to make effort to link our research output to legislation, to policy making, and other.
Especially if they are need-based.
Yes, need driven, yes.
If it's abstract, it will remain on the shelf.
Exactly, which is what has been happening, of course. So thank you very much for that point.
Okay. Last contribution.
Mine is a comment. You have started answering my comments, addressing my comments. I want to appreciate the DG and Professor John for this program and enlightenment to all the staff that are coming. My name is Henry Gimba from the IC Angle. If I may ask, where have you been all this while? Because we have these ideas that can move our country ahead. But you people circulated within the university. All your researches end up in the cabinet, and that is why we're not getting anywhere. You have beautiful ideas that can move this country, but you are not making it. You are not meeting the relevant authorities that can blossom what you have in store for the system. Because you can see that with this, your proposal, if it is implemented, definitely we'll get somewhere. We don't know now. I think we will not have this idea. So you can see that you in the academia, you are the one that rules the country. You are the one that develops the country. That is why the other economies are fast, because they rely solely on academia. Because if all our researches are done inside in the cabinet, definitely there will be nothing out of it. This is a very beautiful idea, and I commend you for that. And I embrace on this. In all this, otherwise we will not be talking in a small confidence. Nigeria would have gone beyond. Thank you and God bless you.
Sometimes, politicians don't make things easy for us. And we in the academics, we are somehow conservative. You need to get a bulldozer to bulldoze us out of that environment. But then we don't have that kind of encouragement from our politicians. Most things they do, it's just focused on what they will gain, or probably what they will use for campaign. Let's tell each other the truth and call a spade a spade. So if we are encouraged, we will go or move forward. And all these ideas on paper will come to life. Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Smart Osoha. I'm from the Internal Audit. I must say thank you so much. Your choice of the choice of your topic is actually tangential to council's presentation. Very big implies Nigeria's strategic position in global agro raw materials value chain, honestly speaking, implies that, okay, when you have agro raw materials today, you don't need to like talk about exporting it in primary state. You actually need to strategically process them so that they will have value and you will get value for your money, and they will enjoy a kind of wider acceptability in global competitiveness in the global stage. Now, today, honestly speaking, from what you have just delivered, personally, I might be wrong. I feel that two departments here have been. If you allow me to call the two departments, one is IEST. The second is Directorate of Competitiveness and Special Projects. These two departments have been challenged. Why did I say so? Whether we like it or not, Council is heading towards promoting import substitution in raw materials and products. And when you look at it, the agro-mineral raw materials, we are going to be working towards ensuring that that values are being added to them so that we could use them to substitute what we've been importing all this while. They are in the subnational levels. By that I mean states. If you talk of that agro-mineral raw materials, where you get them, they are in the states. That is where I have a lot of responsibility to show that here. We need to begin to think in the direction of promoting global competitiveness in these raw materials. I mean agro and mineral raw materials in the various states of the Federation without any maybe preferential treatment to any state, because I know from the little done in competitiveness, there is no state that is not endowed with one or the other agro-mineral raw materials. Now, talking about the Global Directorate of Competitiveness and Special Projects, honestly speaking, to me, this is the current heartbeat of the council, because that bill, once done with, the department will be hot cake. The department will not sleep, will not have sleep. They will have a lot of things to do. So I want to challenge all of us as a council, whatever we do, given the policy direction of the current administration, we should just please work towards value addition to raw materials. Value addition and ensuring that at the end of the day, whatever that we make out of it will be globally competitive. When it is globally competitive, if you look at our import list, it would drastically reduce, and that means a whole lot of us as a council and to us as a country. Thank you so much.
Very much. We'd like to give Professor John Jones to say a few.
Okay. I think some of these things are the reason why the DG has not rested on his oars to ensuring that raw material education become one of the foremost things that will develop the sector. And that's why for the first time in history, we are having courses that are raw material based. And I want the collaboration, as you can see, with the Nassau State University and other universities are onboarding for the same purpose, try to break the silos that have been existing between the academia and agencies of government. because the model of the DG is a triple helix model, and that ensures synchronization of the industry, academia, and government where the raw material is. And that's why one of the things over time, looking at the proposals on the DG's table, like the raw material global education platform, we're going to have a whole lot of courses, partnership programs, and that alone will drive the sustainability and the mandate of this agency for many years to come. And that is the thing the DG is out to achieve. Please can we give the DG a round of applause? Well, before the DG will make his remark, I think I want to believe strongly that our scholar has done very well, and she has been able to prove herself. In fact, she was to be here last week. The other last lecture series, but because of her tight schedule, she begged for time, and DG graciously approved that she should be here today, and that's why she's here. And then we had the last presenter the other time, and so we're going to have this. And please, accept our condolences on the tragic incident that happened to your mother. And ladies and gentlemen, Professor Larabe Musa was one of my of Abuja, and she's out to raise a whole lot of people. And I think that is one of the things she's here to do a whole lot in any capacity she'll be able to serve. Please, my Director General, over to you for your comments. Can we give the DG a round of applause?
Wow. So, Dr. Dita Balarama Musa, thank you very much. You did wonderfully well. So that day you came for espionage. You wanted to see how we do it, so you could do better than others. That's wonderful. Thank you. I enjoyed your and my condolences on the loss of your mom for the way she passed. I don't think anybody would wish even that for his enemy. Unfortunately, that's what Nigeria has come to be at this point. I'm a farmer myself. When we go to farms, we go with arms. That's what we do. We go in groups, we always go with arms. So because if you don't do that, you can't be sure that you go and come back. I had to close some of my farms in some places because we cannot take risks, such risks. So having said that, I also now have to enter my people. Smart could not mention correctly the names of the departments here. There's no department called IASD. There's no department called, what we call this one? So it is important we begin some of these things. If you are a part of a system, be part of the system. If you're not a part of the system, don't be a fake part of the system. Don't adulterate the system. Understand what I'm not taking on you. I'm using you as an example for many others. We are members of the RMRDC by leaves and salary and what they call the other one? DTA. The DTA. That's not for us, please. So Yaro blackmailed me here, but I am also going to walk out of it. The problem is that Yaro and his group has failed to, up to this moment, give me any conclusive material to take a decision. I don't take decisions based on whether money is available or not available. I take decisions when I see that the view is worth pursuing. We first of all approve it and start looking for the money. So Yaro is not, I'm not the one holding you. Once you conclude it that it's clear to us that it is something that we can now deal with. After all, I gave you 3 persons, 3 groups to work with. I approve that you should have foundational training. Do you not want the money to go chop the money before we start it? Let's do those. Even in Italy, we don't understand what of this. And you know that. You first did the trainer. And we have not had sessions training other members of the team since after that. Maybe you should deal with all of that. I'm not even going to be the stumbling block to what you want to achieve. I'm also interested in sustainability. After all, I think I brought it to you first. Good. So, Dr. Binta, you may also yes, I agree with the idea of integrated value chains, which is also what we're championing. In the African Raw Materials Summit of 2026, we are going to be coming with a number of cases of fully integrated value chains. That's what I think you're talking about in some of your distance. So that's the backward and forward integration, a lot, at the same time. So in fact, the theme of the theme of the summit is from the feedstock of Africa, from African feedstock to African factories. So, but we have a number of examples. Sometimes part of the problem is that we write or we talk as if these are not happening. Yesterday, I was with Eme Basi, who came from the Ministry of State for Industries, and is saying that they would like raw materials to be part of a session they want to have, and is to showcase the successful implementation of a fully successful integrated value chain from the farm to manufacturing to the factory, fully working. And there are a number of them across different areas. So my thinking too is that you might highlight some of those examples if you want, maybe your paper, so that it doesn't appear as if it's not happening. So it becomes easier to point to what's happening and say and talk about scaling up or adaptation, in other areas. And that's part of the thing we want to, and that's what we're actually bringing to the table this and the African Raw Materials Summit 2026. And 2, I noticed that when talking about exports, you jump from value-added exports to just exports, because already you seem to have boxed yourself into what again becomes the export. Even the example you gave was more like the export of agricultural produce. We don't champion that. It is inconsistent with what we are set up to do completely. I farm, but I cannot. Right now, I've turned one of my farms to after extracting oil from groundnut, I blend it with maggots to make a feed. So rather than selling my groundnut raw, so people are have eaten it, I remove the oil and I use the cake and blend it with maggots. So these are some of the things that sorry, just this is the way I think it's at that point that we can talk about exporting. So if you are in the RMRC building, I'm not saying if you're in the next building there, you can talk, there's a building there, export promotion, because they don't seem to have cut the bulk, what we have achieved in the first half of last year. It is a very, very, very highly deceitful, fraudulent, and totally disappointing figure for a country like Nigeria. I'm not saying the figure is not good. But if you get $28 billion exporting cassava, what have you achieved? Because $28 billion worth of cassava will give you $280 billion worth of value if you just add 30% to it. If you process it up to 30%. And then we have an institution that have refused to acknowledge that fact. That you can only talk about exports when you meaningfully add value to it. Honestly, is so I think every time we talk about export, beyond this place, if you really want to exemplify and put spirit, a truly Nigerian spirit into your presentation, it should be processed, fully or semi-processed export. Yes, is an insult to a man who is Nigeria is how many years old now? Nigeria is getting to 70 years old. Nigeria. So someone who is 65 years old, first and foremost, retired. That's one. Yes. No, the point I'm making is, how can somebody, Oyibo man enslaved you? And every time I talk about this, I don't care. I really don't care. I say it anywhere, even when Oyibo people are there, I still say it. The truth is, if you are 65 years old and somebody started deceive your papa and your mother, you build Port Harcourt to export your coal, not because they love you. They just built the Port Harcourt and did a rail line that ended the Port Harcourt so that they could just collect your coal, get it to that point, and remove it from you and use it. So you developed all of those places. They did it to your parents, and then they gave back to you. And what you boast about is how to do exactly the same thing your parents did. So even in talking about it, you should talk about it with pain, because to be honest, why should I collect my cassava at least without turning it into tapioca? Turn it into tapioca. If you're a farmer that sells your produce without adding value to it, you always make losses. It happens to me. The only way you can become a farmer and be profitable is to add value to it. Even locally. I'm not talking about even exporting it. Even locally. You mentioned sesame seed. I just harvested my sesame. I'm making losses already. The only way I can, yes, I just finished harvesting my sesame. If I sell it, so